Hello, 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 hello. This is me on another one of my journeys. So, initially, I wanted to go live without getting all the information of I have to have 50 subscribers before I go live. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first apologize for being late today. Um, I said 3 o'clock. Everything that could possibly happen today happened. Starting with, I got up this morning to go and do my buildings. I'm an independent contractor, cleaning contractor, and my vehicle would not crank. In saying that, my alternator died. It had no power. There was no energy going through it. I had all the intentions and all the energy after meditation this morning to go as planned, but that's not how things work. So, in saying that, um, I I wanted to freelance it. I wanted to do live, so I would not be um, reading from a script, but to be able to share the energy that I feel like I have to give, and to connect with you, with my energy and your energy connecting together. So, to get past that, like I said, better late than never. And I say that because Spirit has been on me for months to start YouTube channel. I kept on getting the message, and I kept just putting it off, and then it just got so heavy to the point where, you know, some of my people that I talk to on a regular basis was like, "You need to do this." The messages are real. We can feel it. We see a difference in our life. You should share it. And a few years back, I did my. Let me get comfortable. A few years back, I did my personality. What is it? The personality check. I did one of those. What is it? IQ, and it said teacher, right? And I'm like, teacher? What am I supposed to teach? I have been getting jobs all my life, as 18 years old, um, in a leadership position. And, despite my past, for those who already know me, um, being a foster child, not being as educated as others, I use that as a crutch to not really a crutch, but I used it as a, oh, I'll take what I can get. I'll do what I can. In saying that, doing that, just I'll take what I can, I'll do what I can, I'll make work with what I work. I always was on the other side of success when I started out at the bottom. That was my mentality. Start at the bottom. You'll get there. And I would always get there. But once I got there, I realized that, oh, that's not where I wanted to be. So, in saying that, that went on for years and years and years. So, what came about was, um, 2018, my brother passed. It was a hard time. You know, we were in the same foster home. We growed up, went our separate ways, but we always communicated. And when he passed, I was like not able to cry. And it bothered me. I saw everybody else crying, and I was like, why can't I cry? Why am I not crying? I was like, Mom, Dad, um, I'll plan the funeral. She had just lost her child, even though I had just lost my brother. It was just like I wasn't numb, but I wasn't feeling what I felt I should feel to lose a sibling. 2 days after I had just seen him. And my last memory of him was a kiss on the forehead. So the funeral happened, weeks went by, and I was not still able to grieve the way I saw everybody else grieving, you know? So um, I went back to work after, they give you the days. I took a extra day or extra couple of days because I just was low vibrational. I wasn't ready. And I was also like trying to figure out what was going on with me. So I went back to work. I had been there for about 14, 15, 16, 17, 5 years at that point. When I went back to work, I got wrote up. I got wrote up, and the purpose of the write up was because I had taken an extra day and I didn't have vacation days. So it kind of like was like a smack in the face. So it really, really, really bothered me, and things never got that right. At that point, I was like, why is this happening? How can people be so cold, or why am I in this situation? And it was like really, really bad. I started to listen to meditation music at work. I um I had went and bought sage. I had never burnt sage before, but I'm not even sure how I got connected with burning sage. But anyway, I started burning the sage, and I started praying. At first, I was scared of the sage because of, for one, not seeing anybody like me burning it, for one. For two is I had had so many negative, um, read negative reviews about it, and had also, you know, people were saying it was witchcraft. So I was like, well, I see some people doing it, but I don't see anybody I know doing it. So I looked it up, or I think, yeah, I looked it up, and I found out there was a store in my hometown that sold it. So I went and got it, and I started burning it, and it was my prayer time. Now, for those who know me in my past, I had had a very, very bad um, encounter with church. I was saved. I said I said I was saved. I said I was a Christian. I was in a relationship, thinking that the church was going to help me save my relationship. We were both going, and New Year's 2006, New Year's 2000, yeah, New Year's 2006. Um, Went to church at 12 o'clock that night, and going in the new year, we're gonna bring church in. And the guy that I was dating, which was the guy at that time that I was staying, to find out that he had exchanged numbers with one of the ladies, which was in a higher rank in the church, a high rank in the church. And snooping around, I found some text messages, and I tapped into his voicemail, and I got the message. and he was saying that he was going to leave me, and he had to wait for the right time. So um, I approached him with it, not in a good way, but in a way of packing all his stuff and just taking it to his mom's house and dropping it off. So, um, and I never returned back to that church because I felt betrayed. So, when um, next thing I know, it was 3 months. I kind of knew the Bible because I've been in church off and on in my life. So I kind of knew the Bible when, I know things happen in numbers and, three, what the three meant, what the seven meant. And for those of you that don't know, you know, comment and we'll go through, what the numbers mean. Um, well, in 3 months he was engaged, and on the seventh month he was married. So I ran like I had done so many times in relationships and, you know, different situations of life. I ran. I moved to another state and I started my life over. In saying that, I moved to this state. I move in a hotel. I take sand to the beach with me, so I'm not by myself at that moment. I leave my kids behind, and I start a new life. I start to get my things together. I go back and get my kids, and we proceed to go on with life in another state. So, and at that point, it was like my third time moving out of the state of North Carolina. So, um, moving out of the state was always a go-to thing for me. I always knew that I wanted something different. I knew I wanted something different, so I was like, okay, I'll go here and I'll start. But that last time, it was a longer time. It was a different journey, and I didn't even know anything about awakening, and wasn't thinking about spirituality at that point. I wasn't thinking about religion. I was just like, um, I'll just figure it out myself. So I get there, and like I said, I come back and get the kids. So eventually we moved around a little bit, like one or two places, and was it one place when the kids got there, and then we ended up moving into a house. So we moved into a two-story split level house, one car garage in the suburbs. Okay, so when that happened, it triggered something in me to say, I had people saying, you always trying to live above your means. That was even before I left North Carolina. But when I actually got out of the state and got to experience manifesting, you know, almost a $200,000 house, I was like, okay, that's good. I'm on to something. I can do this, And it lasted for a little over a year, and then relationship wise, I just quit. I just left the house and I moved into an apartment in another part of Georgia and manifested another nice paying job. Okay, so got time for my son to graduate, and he wanted to graduate with his class, so we came back to North Carolina. Now, that's when the light bulb hit. Got back to North Carolina, same relationship. Um, it didn't last 6 months. So I'm like, okay, wow, that's weird. We just did 6 years, but we get back to North Carolina, can't do 6 months. So he goes his separate way, and I go mine. So I'm back alone now, and I hadn't been alone in 6 years. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't make it to 7 in this, so what we're gonna do. So I got a job. Didn't get a job right away. He got a job before me, and I was like the head of the job in Atlanta. Um, I was the head. I made the most money. I paid the mortgage. He paid the other bills. So when we got back, the roles kind of changed, right? He got a job before me, and I um I was looking. I was having to go. I was looking for a job, and I landed a job, but it wasn't a good paying job like I had just left, making $60,000 a year. So he was the head then, and it was like, you ain't got no job. I'm tired of this. It's been 3 months, and I'm doing everything by myself, and I felt betrayed. I was like, how can I, you know, help support you as the leader for 6 years and you can't make it 6 months? So we went our separate ways. And um, I started back having to fix something up besides going in and having something that's already just moving ready. And then I had already been through that all my life with fixing up stuff because of lack of what we say, money. If you don't have the money, you can't live in the 2-story house, right? You can't drive the brand new car. And it didn't really trigger on me then. I just went ahead and did what I normally do, get a job. So I get a job. I get a job in the field that I've been in for. I had been in that field for 13 years. I go to another company, and I do what I do at every job I go to. I go in and I tell them what I have to offer, and they give me a position. Well, they didn't give me a good position when I went in. They actually put me back at the bottom, even though I had 13 years. So I'm like, okay, because I know me, I'm going to move up. And so, long story short, I stayed there for 7 years. I I left making $40,000. So in 7 years, I had, to their standards, got to where I was going to get for what they were going to give me. They, you know, I was training people, bringing them in. How jobs go. You don't always get what you want. So like I said, my brother had already passed, and there was already a bad taste in my mouth with that job. And I just after communicating with them, because I'm a communicator. I'm a type of person, I'm going to go to you and I'm going to tell you what I expect because I know myself. I know what I bring to the table. And, why I stayed for 7 years was a later question. So, so I quit February the 24th, 2020, right? So March, here comes COVID. So COVID comes, and I'm like, oh God, I can't find a job. But to go back in, I think December of 2019, I got really sick, like really, really sick. Had a bad cold. Was in the bed for like 6 days. Sick, could hardly hold my head up just to get fluids. And I was like, oh, I got the flu. And then came COVID. So pretty much a lot of people had already encountered COVID. What happened was, so COVID came, and I I quit my job. So after I quit my job, um, I started journaling. So I started journaling the next day after I quit my job, and remind you, I had been burning sage for over a year. So I quit my job and I started journaling. Excuse me, and I took my last, I think it was my last paycheck, and I started a home based business. And then I said, okay, I needed more tools than just this because this is our computer now, our energy, right? Um, I was going to get my 401k out. So, not really educated on that. 401k was going down, 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 down. So, my money, what I thought I had, and by the day I put it in, and what I had was about $10,000. So I went and bought a computer and, printer, different stuff, network marketing. I took about 21 classes that 2020, network marketing classes, just different entrepreneur classes, tax write-offs, um, sales, just anything that had to do with sales. So I took a lot of classes and educated myself. Well, I was in another relationship and was engaged, and then he flatlined on me. I don't want to do this. You're burning sage. You're doing this, and I'm getting just bad vibes. And I was like, okay, because I know I'm a force for good, and I was doing what I was supposed to do in that relationship. So, boom, another monkey wrench. Engaged, um, and just looked at and said, no, I don't want to do this. Okay, carry on. Luckily, I had my own property and I was able to um, go back home. So, and my daughter was actually renting that at the time. So, I go back home. I stay there for a couple of months, and I say, not in the right place again. Spirits just letting me know, not in the right place again. You've been down this road before. This is not going to work. So, I started working with my chakras. Yeah, I started working with my chakras then because at that point, the sage opened the door of, um, I don't know how it kind of happened, but it was like I started burning my sage, and then once I started burning my sage, I started following this lady, and she started talking about chakras, and I'm like, well, what are chakras? So it was like the imbalance in your body, and it was like so we have like 121 chakras in our body, which are power